Challengers Cup games today. Hopefully I'll upload this to YouTube and whatever later. So this first game is Whatever versus Loopy Landers. So we're going to get into that quickly. From the start you can see very interesting coming out for the Jonqui. You've got the purple pot with 4 multi-potions, which is not exactly normal, but Jonqui has the health sustain already. He's relatively tanky, so this is sort of acceptable. I don't really like it. I feel like you may as well just pop the pot in base, get 2 health, 2 manas, but that's his personal preference. So from the start, you can see a lot of wards coming out. There were a whole bunch of wards from both teams actually. More so coming out for Loopy Landers than whatever. But whatever have the both T junctions warded, whereas Loopy Landers have these much deeper wards. Or this, yeah, they have T junctions and this deeper ward, which gives a lot more information on the blue start, because some people like to start blue into speed rather than speed into blue. Uh, you can also see three purple pots coming out for. Let me just pause this quickly. 3 purple pots coming out for whatever, which shows that they're going to try and get that early pressure, especially in solo lane with the ability of Kabakan to interrupt Guan's 3 to try and stop all that clear, stop Guan getting into a good position, just keep him behind. But even from the comps themselves, you can see the 2 styles of play that are going on. Loopy Landers have this very team fighty oriented comp. They're just looking for entirely a team fight. You've got the Guan Yu, Zhonghui, Humbats, Bacchus, which are all designed for this big AoE team fight presence. But on whatever side, you have this sort of lockdown comp. You're trying to get people in the Kabakan ult and get them Nemesis ulted, Scylla ulted. Just get these big picks in the team fight and then transition that pick into the win of the team fight. And the Nemesis is very good against the Zhonghui coming out. Not quite sure the pick order because it didn't show me on the demo, but that's that. So these are pretty default starts coming out here. You've got the triple bounce coming out from Hoi, mid laner helping with back camp for a few basics. And there's very fast clear there. And yeah, you've got good clear all overall. Much slower on this lower side. You see Neath taking a lot of poke. And they're gonna be much slower to clear these backs as well, which will give red team a lot of pressure in lane, which will be good for them. So yeah, all default stuff coming out. Solo lane, both solo and jungle going to there. Mid laner has actually surprisingly the Scylla has pressure here, which is weird as they both have purple bots. But Zhong has the rotation advantage, so the Fire Elementals will be going to red team, which is big. Fire Elementals are a lot of golden experience early on. Uh, Interestingly enough, blue team goes straight to these mid camps, which is surprising because red could have contested these. I guess they just want to trade 1 for 1 in mid camps, but they definitely could have contested them and tried to go on both. But this whatever do take a lot of pressure, and you see them getting poked from tanking the archers. I don't like this decision to go to back camps. There's this wave coming in. I think they're going to miss a bunch of creeps and be very far behind in gold, which is never a good thing. You see, so many creeps are going to come into tower. They probably only can get archers here. That's 2 gone already. 3. They might even, yeah. So they just lost 3 creeps worth of gold, which this early on is kind of big. You can already, actually you can't really see anything yet. There's about 30 gold difference between the two. At 2 minutes in, so there's not a whole lot of difference. It's pretty much exactly even. I don't know if they're going to miss this wave as well. No, they're just going to tank the wave. Oh no, they still miss a creep. So between mid and jungle, there's a lot more pressure for Loopy Landers this early on, which is surprising, seeing as you have the triple purple pot coming up for whatever. You can see Humbat setting up for a gank here, which should be quite a free pick on AoEs. There's not much he can do. He has Shell and his 2, but apart from that, he should just die to a Bat ult. Just, yeah, they do have. So there's that. Nice immune from the but so they're going for this. They're getting all this damage off, hitting all these abilities, but he gets out on 1 HP. And I'm just gonna replay this fight quickly because that shouldn't have happened. They made quite a big mistake there. We're going for this gank. So they get the poke off early. This is when they call for the gank. They're like, oh, we've got Ares to half health. And it's a good call. It's a good decision to go for this kill. So you see Humbat's just setting up, waiting for quite a long time. I think he probably could have gone for backs first and then come to gank, because blue team aren't going to push without the wave here. So they could have got a bit more XP, farmed that up slightly more efficiently. But they did just call to go for the gank. So as it just sets up here, Ares the First being very cautious here. That he steps up, or he just doesn't really retreat fast enough. So Bat's ult comes out, but look at how he is positioning. He has his leap up, but he's way far behind. If he'd have leaped in, gotten a basic attack off, or even his stun off, that would have been a guaranteed kill onto Ares. But he just did almost no damage that fight, which really cost them that kill. Caused that to drop. You can see, I mean, Zhong's just going to farm this way if he can tank it up. He's pretty tanky at this point, probably quite high stacked. Don't know if there's anyone to see that, don't think so. And you do actually see these 5 elementals, I believe, went to whatever, when they saw the gank over, they're like, let's secure this jungle. And they know Bat's ult here is down. I think. Yeah, let me just check if who took these. So far, it's basically even in terms of farm. You got Ares was forced back, but yeah, you can see whatever at this point know they're over there, so go for this free XP, then just keep farming up, which is always farming, like maximizing your farm is always a useful thing to do. They're just gonna push these waves out, get the farm. Then they know that Bat's ult's down. They know that he was in left lane. Obviously, he backed and went straight for his speed, which is the right call. But they do know Bat's ult's down, so they go to look for the speed contest. And I do believe they still have purple pot onto the Kabaka, so they do have a massive advantage in this fight. But they did see Bacchus rotate, so they've got to be careful of that. They're just gonna back out. In fact, taking a bit of poke, but barely any. That speed's just gonna go to red team. And they secure that, which is a huge thing. Like speed's so important, especially this early on. They give so much jungle pressure. So you can see the full golden bows come out for Hou, which is you gotta mention it, but at the same time that's gone now, so who really cares? Interesting enough, Ares going for very aggressive positioning there. They know that as they go for a fight here, that I don't really know what Ares is doing. They couldn't have gone that. Were they? They had to commit to that. They had Nemesis in, but they just didn't silo it. They started the fight, but they just sort of stopped. They had Silo up. Ares pulled 2. He knew he was going to pull 2 because Jog has no beat. He started with the Aegis. So Silo would have hit because of the stun after the Ares ult. But they didn't commit to that. They had Nemesis incoming. They had 2 of them pulled, ready for Silo ult. Just didn't commit, and I'm not sure why. This should have been a great opportunity to fight. I don't know what happened there. Scylla just she used her crush and sick 'em. That was fine, but they were down and they just didn't do anything. That's basically just a waste of 2 ults. They did force Bacchus Shell, but I mean it's not really that important this early on. There's a lot of aggression coming out here. I expect Scylla to be dead. Yeah, God will stun her out. Oh, no, that's securing her. So this is. I'm not quite sure why blue team wanted to contest these. They didn't really have much of a reason to at all. They'd used 2 of their ults, 2 of their like big team fight ults. Ares didn't have his shell up, and yeah, they're just gonna get 4 kills off this, which is huge. It changes the pace of the game entirely. I'm not sure why they allowed that to happen. They didn't need to contest these mid camps. They knew none of them had ults. They couldn't fight this, as well as blue team having great position. I mean, red team having great positioning. They were already ready for the engagement, but they just didn't commit. This fight still really annoys me. Nemesis had her ult. They had no way of getting away from it, but it's whatever. But no pun intended. So Scylla was way too far up here. If she's in a position to get backers flopped, she's basically in a wrong position. Yeah, they just had nothing here. They had no reason to fight. They had nothing to gain from that. It's not worth the like 90 gold coming out to lose 3 people. And that was fairly obviously going to happen. Now this isn't a chase from the Quebec, and it's very poor. He had no. It's 1v4. You're not going to win that fight. You may trade 1 for 1, but is that even worth at this point? You're the solo laner. You're ahead in XP. You don't need to be trading 1 for 1. Not that he did anyway. He just ended up trading none for one and just giving them a free kill. So Red Team are in such a strong position now to basically open up the game. They're in control of everything. I don't know if they knew about the buff timers coming out for the blue team. They were quite low, but they also just killed 4 people, so they could have either thrown out a ward or contested outright. But either way, they secured these buffs. Interestingly enough, Red going to the ADC, deal with pressure in Dura lane, and they're looking to farm up in mid. Looking for Zhong to, I assume he's going to build a stacking item. Just let him get these stacks online. Probably going to build a Warlock Sash just to look to be defensive early on, get to full stacks, and then just look for this aggression, look for these team fights, which they're trying to do. You saw, even just from the start, when they get these early team fights, they're ahead because their comp is so suited for that. It's so team fight oriented, it's just so strong in that regard. Yeah, you can see Zhong starting to build the Warlock Sash. Uh, this shouldn't have. Like, Ares got such a big ult off here, and I don't know. I don't really know what was going on. They just sort of let him walk up into 4 of them, just pull them all in. I think I go back to this and see what happens because it just shouldn't have been able to happen like that. So I'm not sure why they were so grouped up as well. Were they starting Gold Fury? You see Ares coming in. Like they could look to pick him at this point. They could look to pick Ares. He's quite far up, but back isn't in position. It will be 2v2. Maybe a bit risky, but so he's going to look to come in fairly soon. Or he's in the jungle just waiting, just not looking not to get ganked. Or he knows he's not going to get ganked, but just looking to play it safe. So Ares he just walks up into 3 of them here, and pops shell, pops ult, pulls in 3 of them because he knows none of them have beads. Silhouette comes in, gets the one combo out. They grouped 3 people out, but they don't know where Ares is, which is huge. Like, you can't be that close to Ares when none of you have beads, when you have the Scylla incoming, Nemesis, Neath, all these sort of high early damages coming out, and they just grouped up for this Ares ult whilst having no beads, and that was huge. That cost them 2 free picks, and suddenly the game isn't in their control. It's sort of an even game again, which is a massive sort of throw of that early lead. Also, they had very few actives up, so Bats had beads. Let me show you, because Bats got hit by quite a lot of stuff. I don't know if he beat. Okay, so he did beat the Ares ult, but he still got very poked in the fight. The beads come out there. Oh, he doesn't actually get that poked at all. Never mind. But yeah, they had no reason to group up like that. They were looking to pick Ares. I understand that, but like grouping up so close, such a tight angle, it's just not going to ever work in your favor. But both teams have pressure of their own jungle, but you can see whatever's jungle very delayed. That speed's not coming up for a while. I think that was due to the fight in mid that whatever lost. I think Nemesis was about to do a speed but stopped. But you can see much better jungle control for Red Team. They've got control of the fire elementals. They know the mid camp timers. They're getting the mid camps, and that's very like critical for like helping snowball that early game. and getting to the team fight stage that they so like desperately want to get to. So you can see these mid camps not even being contested, which is huge. That's a 90 gold, that's nearly 100 gold swing just by contesting these mid camps, or not contesting these mid camps, as well as the XP it provides. And if they don't contest both sets, that's just going to put them down so much. They're not getting fire elementals mid camps, and both sets are mid camps. Like they're just going to, red team just have the potential to snowball so easily. It's a big mistake not to even contest them. Even if you just delay one, even if you delay one set, like if they contested these right camps, to delay them until they spawn at the same time as the left camps, then they can trade evenly the next time. But like not contesting either of them puts them so far behind, and it's sort of a just complete waste of your early game. You can see a massive grouping up for red team looking for this gold tree maybe, but they are scared because they know Bats doesn't have beads and Ares does have ult, so they just gotta wait basically. They need to wait for that to come back up and hope for the best. The red team, red buff coming out for Scylla, and I don't know if Zhonghui will take this one. I don't think he will. I think it's gonna go to Hoi. Yeah, it's gonna go to Hoi. Oh no, I suppose it can go to Zhong. Which weird as Zhong doesn't have much early damage at all. He has very little without any of his damage items. His ult's not going to be doing that much, although it is hitting everyone. He's going to be getting high damage numbers, but not like high single target damage, which is what you really want at this stage. You want to just get the picks, just burn someone down, but that's not going to be able to happen with this. So you can see both teams have all of their actives up. So this next fight will favour Loopy Landers heavily, because whatever's team comp is basically based around forcing the actives and then crushing them when those are down. They have so many ways to force the actives, but like their actives counter out whatever's team comp so much. So they sort of need whatever needs to force those actives before they can actually do much. Which is why like any gold tree fight at the moment will favour Loopy Landers, so they should be able to bait whatever into a fight. And whatever can't really do much. They can force the actives, get them forced for the next fight, but they can't really do much in this individual fight. So that's what they should be doing. They should be trying to force objectives, whether it is force jungle pressure. Basically just force stuff. I think Pikachu's going to disconnect here. Which is going to be fun. And you got nothing too crazy coming out in terms of builds. You can see the one main difference in builds is the support. You see the Mark of the Vanguard coming out for Ares, which I like. There are quite a lot of ticks onto Loopy Landers. You've got Zhonghui, Bacchus 3, Guan 3, Huyi ult, Bat ult. That's just a lot of ticks. So this Mark of the Vanguard helps a lot and helps shield him. Interesting enough, Bacchus not going for it. I suppose there are a lot less ticks onto blue team, but it's so strong early game. It gives so many good stats that I feel like that should be picked up. See, once again, these mid camps going straight to red team. It's a fairly even game, yet whatever just aren't contesting at all. They're just letting them go over to the other team, which gives them so much pressure. They don't even have. You can also see the wards coming out. There are not a lot on the side of whatever. Like all the wards, apart from I think one on the map, are the wards of Loopy Landers. So that's huge pressure. Like red team could just roam, do whatever they want, get all this free map control, map pressure, but you just can't really do that much without this ward cover. You don't want to walk into this area where you have no idea what could be around the corner. So you see they are starting to get some sentries on the map, but they need a lot more. Newground does have far superior control. It can basically force whatever they want at this point. This should be a dead Neath here. If the one hits from Hoyi, and this goes straight for the Bat ult. That should no, they're going back out. So they forced Neath beads, which is alright. They forced her to half health, but she is just gonna heal up with her too. So it wasn't a wasted gank because they did force pressure, force her beads. They only used Bat ult, but it just didn't help them much. So you see Bacchus getting caught here, getting dropped very low. just gonna ult before he dies. That's really the issue with beads. But I think Guan's gonna trade out for Scylla. You can see in this fight, they're all trying to collapse on Guan. They're they're making Guan the main issue here, but they have these other squishies that are just gonna do loads of damage. They're just ignoring them completely. Now they can just heal up, and that's just a sort of free fight for red team now. Yeah, they secure the gold jury. Probably pick off Kabak here. That ult doesn't really do much. Does a bit of damage, but actually it ends up forcing the Aegis of Zhonghui. But Need's now dead, and probably Nemesis. She might be able to get out. Yeah, there's the bees, and she's probably out. But it was very aggressive, and she probably shouldn't have made it. That was a very poor fight for blue team. Like I said, they hadn't forced the actives of Lupulanders. They were all still up, and they can't fight whilst those actives are still up. They're so far behind. But they did end up forcing those actives so they can fight in the future. But for this fight, they lost the gold jury, lost the fight, and that was just a sort of huge deal. I'm just going to go back quickly, because this stage is very important when they start turning on Guan instead of the backlines. So you can see they look for the pick on this Bacchus. They use Nemo, Scylla, Ares ult. They use 3 ults onto this Bacchus, and they do get him. You see Guan chasing here, and suddenly all of blue team collapse on Guan. These squishies are allowed to do whatever they want. They're not being pressured whilst they're still getting damage out. So that basically caused both Scylla and Ares to die, because whilst they were walking towards this Guan Yu, red team were just actually getting damage off using their abilities, getting that pressure, which is sort of huge. And you can see, we see this ult still up for no numbers. He could have used that to wall Guan off, walled the rest of their team off, but it wasn't used in the end, which is just, well, it's sort of bad communication. He needed to wall that for his team, but walled it just for a bit of damage and try and help him escape instead. Nearly gets the Guan, but then it's a Guan and he's going to heal up and he's fine. So that's a massive swing. It was a very even game until this point, but then they lost, I think 3 people died, as well as losing that gold jury, and that just suddenly brought the game back into the hands of Lupulanders. They have so much pressure from this point. Especially with this Guan, he's starting to get the Hide the Urchin stacks up. He's getting tanky, he's getting pressure, he's getting his heals maxed at this point. They're going to look to team fight, and they're going to be able to team fight, and they're going to win these team fights. As long as they have actives up. They need to have beads up, otherwise they won't win the team fight at all. They'll just get Ares ulted into the Kabakano, into the Scylla Crush, Scylla Sikkim. Neath 1. This is a very nice play onto the Zhonghui. You want them obviously over the wall, then running around with the increased movement speed and the slow onto Zhonghui. They're still hitting the second slow coming out at the right time to not chain the other slows into the Scylla ult, into the Neath ult. Basically sort of a textbook pick onto a Zhonghui. That's the real reason they have Nemesis, just to pick that Zhonghui. Strips his tankiness, strips his health, because the damage is based off health. Slows him down, makes him very easy to catch up, easy to hit with his abilities. And they just pick him. But now they have just used 3 ults for a Zhonghui. So if red team want to do anything, they have the time to do that. But that was still a very good pick. Although it doesn't actually swing that way that much. Look at the graph, it's a tiny change. So whilst they do get this good pick, they can't fight for a while now. They didn't actually gain that much. You can see just from these rotations that Guan's so far ahead in XP and gold. He's managed to... Well, he didn't win the lane, obviously, because he can't, because Kabakan has that pressure. But he's been getting these assists, getting these kills, just from the good rotations, and that just sort of put him so far ahead. And you never want to be a Guan ahead, because he just snowballs out of control and gets the team fight pressure with the heal, the ult, and the protection shred. So you can see that all the pressure. This time Zhonghui takes the red, and I'm fine with this. He's got his stacks coming in. He's getting a lot of damage off now. So they're definitely looking to team fight here. They're looking for this Zhonghui to pump out the damage, to damage as many people as he can and just to get the good poke down. Unfortunately, I can't switch the items thing because this is recorded and not live, unfortunately, due to the replay system resetting after each patch, which is very annoying. But you see this pressure mid, Guan's rotated here. He's just applying pressure onto them. He's trading out poke with her. Even though it's not that much poke, Guan always wins the poke trade just due to his heal. So you see this massive group up in mid. I like this. They have the Guan heal. They have the siege potential. They can just start 5-man pushing this. And you can see Kabaka, he gets caught. He has no way of escaping that after he gets flopped. A big 2 or 3 man Silo coming out there. But then what they have nothing to follow that up with. They just have Guan heal. He's just going to heal up. He's going to be fine. So you can see this Ares ult coming in again, but they can't get anything off that. They have no damage, they have no Silo ult. Kabaka didn't use ult. They just had no way of actually getting a kill there. So now they just get the heal up with Guan. It's going to keep healing, keep sustaining. Actually, they're getting far lower than they should at this point. But now they can just back out, heal up, and then re-engage. Get the siege. When you get the heals in, they can just keep fighting. Whereas blue team have no way of doing that. Once their health is low, they stay low until they back. The teleport's coming in from Kabaka here. They can probably defend this, yeah. Because Guan heal isn't getting out fast enough. He doesn't have enough cooldown reduction at the moment because he has 0 cooldown items, which I don't like. I think he should have at least 1 now. I think breastplate would be way more important than shifters at this stage, simply due to that cooldown potential. Or not cooldown potential, cooldown reduction. But there were a lot of actives forced out from the side of Loopy Landers due to the Ares ult. So it means they can look to re-engage soon. But I'm not sure they can even do anything. I don't think they have the damage at this point because on the whole, Loopy Landers are very tanky. They have 3 tanky characters and 2 characters that aren't going to be in sort of in a position to get bursted. They'll always stay right at the back until the point where Bats needs to go in, and then they'll full on commit. They have no reason to be there. Alright, this gold tree start. You can see Kabakan's off in the right jungle. He can't get in quickly. They have a lot of pressure. They're ahead at this point. And it should be fairly easy gold tree. Ares is just being able to walk up though. Like he's just being able to walk in and get a huge ult coming in. I don't know if it's gonna be. Yeah, there's no follow up. After that Ares ult, they have nothing to follow up with, and now they should back out. Scylla had ult, but she's ulting defensively, so that's their whole game plan gone. They can't do anything without that Scylla ult. Ares did pull a couple people, but they had no damage to deal to the enemies. Now they lose Gold Tree, they lose this tower, they might lose tier 2 here. It was just, in general, a bad decision to fight. You see quite a few missed abilities coming out from Red Team, which means Kabaka can just walk up to them and just be fine, basically. Zhonghui getting bursted, but he's Zhonghui, so he's probably going to be fine. See looking to pick this Kabaka, he can't really get out. Once he commits to a fight, he has to stay in there. But you can see they're backing out now. Like everyone's backed out. They had their escapes up, but they essentially left Bacchus to do whatever. He can't escape when he has no flop. They basically just left him for dead with the Guan backing out, and they stayed way too long whilst not being grouped up. You can see Bats went over here, Hoi went up here, and that's just to lead to the death of the Zhonghui. He used his Aegis. I don't think he should have used Aegis. He was pretty much dead anyway. Let's just bring it back. So you can see that's what 3. There's quite a lot of beans forced out, but they have nothing. Scylla didn't ult. She just ulted away. She didn't follow up with that damage, even though they pulled people who were sort of worth killing. And that's kind of big. You need Scylla. Scylla is their damage at this point. She's the only one that can burst them. Scylla and Neith. And without that damage, they just can't fight. I don't quite know why they are fighting in the first place, because Neith was poked out, but so you can see there, Scylla should have ulted. They had no reason not to Scylla ult, but instead Ares just gets picked. Scylla ults defensively, tries to get out, gets chased by Guan, and that's the fight over at that point. They're lucky they only lost 1 member. They had no reason to contest, and they did so in a very poor manner, not grouping up correctly, not using the right things to try and pick their opponents. But then red team do make this mistake of overcommitting. They don't. So there's this fight here coming out from blue team. That's fine. They're allowed to get this aggression. It's quite good aggression actually. They get quite a lot off it. They get that poke. They get the sort of fear in. But then they heal up with Guan and keep sieging. However, they're diving way too deep. They're looking for the tower here. The tower's the important part, not the pick onto Kabakhan. But Bacchus has jumped in onto this Kabakhan. Guan's about to retreat. Bats is about to get out of there. And there's no reason to engage here. They're looking for the tower. 2 of them are looking for the tower. 3 at this point. They get out, and that's it. They do get the tower, but they lost Bacchus for no reason. And now you can see, pop the sprint, ult onto Zhonghui. He can't do anything. His teammates are nowhere nearby. They have no PO for him. The only thing they have is Guan Q, which I think was down. And that's just basically a free kill for whatever. So they lost quite a lot. Like, even though red team get the gold tree, get the tier 1 and tier 2, but they gave up these 2 kills for pretty much no reason. Which has got to be annoying. So this should be a pick on... Oh, there's the blink out, so it's going to be fine. But they forced that blink. So it's a good decision to rotate there from blue team. They need to look up to pressure this. They don't really have any other opportunities to pressure tower. This is when they got the 2 picks. They know backers won't be here for a while. They're just going to back off here. They're still scared, basically. They're scared of red team. Red team are very far in the lead. They don't want to fight, even though it was 3v5 at that point. They're just too afraid of fighting. Which is sort of understandable. They are very far behind. So you can see that but even though both mid lane towers are gone for blue team, they still have the majority of their towers up. But I assume red team should just be starting to... They should get their buffs, group up and push down solo lane. They're in a good position for it. They have the Siege of Guan Yu. They have Hu Yi to just chunk down that tower. They should be starting that as soon as possible. So you can see coming out in builds wise, there's nothing sort of particularly strange coming out. These are all standard builds. Zhonghui is double stacking, which is... This shows they're going for a late game team comp. But that's fine really. Zhonghui is designed for that team comp. He's going to be stacking anyway due to the way his passive works. So that's basically just all normal builds. The one thing I would say is that I think Lupilana should have had another sprint. I don't think Bacchus needed that med, especially at the time he bought it. I don't quite know why... Oh, Bats is coming in. Okay, so basically they look to force needs cooldowns, force her backflip, force her heal, and look for a Bats rotation. However, they now see the rest of whatever coming in for the fight. So now you can see they're grouping up as 5 here, looking to siege down this tower, and they should just take it slow and basically just get this free tower. But they're looking for these fights. They really don't have any reason to fight. You can see Bats ulting solo onto Nemesis, Guan Yu diving onto underneath by himself, leaving Kabakhan to deal damage to their squishies. But they have no reason to do any of this. They could just look for the tower, group and look for the tower. This is a huge... Oh, that Silver missed. Basically threw that a lot. So Bats gets out here. They should all be out at this point. But they lost 2 people for a tier 1 front. Basically no reason. They took it way too fast. And they didn't appreciate the fact that they had Ares ult coming in. They didn't have actives up. The beads and things were down. Or well, not even beads were down. It's just the fact that the people that were pulled didn't have beads to begin with. So they have to play this very carefully. They know Ares has ult into Scylla damage. They have them to shred the protections of the people who are pulled. They know that's going to be dangerous, but they didn't really do anything about it. They just kept going as if Ares didn't really exist, which is a huge misplay. And they just took it way too fast. They looked for a fight instead of a siege. With their comp, they're not looking to fight them. They can just push. They can just poke them out, get this damage, heal up with Guan, keep sieging, keep sieging, keep sieging. There's nothing whatever can do about that apart from force a fight. And then Lupilanders can get these much better fights off. Bats would have ulted more than one person if they'd have been defending rather than aggressing. You would have had a more effective Guan Yu ult. Backers could have hit more people, and Zhonghui, which is the important part, would have got so much more work done. But they now know Ares ult's down, which is most of their team fight, so they're looking for this gold tree. I think that's a good call. Kalas gets poked quite a lot, but they have a Guan Yu, so they don't really care about backers getting poked slightly. We can see this Ares is just walking up to them. He's not being CC'd, he's just allowed to walk right up to them. I assume he's going to get a 3-man ult off here. He does get poked quite a lot. They could burst him here, but no, he lives, gets the ult off, pulls quite a few people. But I think, yeah, they can't do much here. This is going to heal up with Guan. So they didn't get the wombo combo off. They have to pick someone sort of as soon as that Ares ult comes off. As soon as you get that start, you have to get that combo off. And Scylla should be dead. I know she's going to get out. Nem's not going to get anything. But you can see Hou Yi going straight for this fire. He has no reason to do anything else. Like, I wouldn't even go for the speed buff. They're going to go for it, but I don't really see why you would. They're assuming that Scylla's not going to contest, not going to get in there fast enough, but that's kind of risky to assume. So back to this fight, you can see Ares is just getting away with whatever he wants. He's getting his chains off. There's nothing counter coming out from Loopy Landers. This damage is just coming onto them. And this is the important part. Ares is just walking into a bunch of them. No one's peeling for it. No one's peeling him. They're just being allowed to get everything off. So Scylla comes in, but it's only hitting Guan. It's not. They knew 2 people were going to get picked here and pulled in, but they used Scylla just on Guan before that instead, which was, I hate that. There's no reason for that to happen. Scylla could have just waited. They knew they were trying to get the Ares ult off. Ares would have been calling, I'm ulting. But Scylla just ulted beforehand and didn't get anything off, really. Now they've just lost so much. They've lost the gold. They didn't lose the gold tree, actually. They lost the fire giant, which sets up the end of the game, basically, for Loopy Landers. They have that. They had the ability before to siege things, but now they can siege things much more easily with the fire sustain as well as the Guan Yu sustain. That also comes with the MP5 sustain. It's allowing them to do so much more, as well as just the fire giant buff, making pushing towers much easier. So you can see here they're just going to look to back to like far up, farm the buffs, back by and siege up. Not sure which side they'll siege up. Either one's viable if you want the more towers, or if you want to look for the Phoenix sooner. I personally would just go down solo lane, clear out that, then group up and duo lane, clear that tower, and then look for the duo lane Phoenix. I think that's what they should look to pressure. But they could. There is an argument to be just to go straight for the Phoenix whilst they got this fire giant. Time isn't really an issue for them because they have so much siege potential. They can just do whatever they want, and the fire giant's still up for quite a long time. They're not going to run out of fire giant like soon, so they have time to push this Phoenix if they so choose. Scylla had very aggressive positioning there. She's looking for a red buff. She knew the timer of that, but that was very risky. She could have got picked very easily by blue team. I don't like that decision at all. So you can see this should just be a slow siege. They have no reason to rush into this. They should wait for Zhonghui's actives to be back up. They have no reason to go now. This is very risky. If Ares could pull so many people, he could get a 3-man ult off. But look at this, Scylla ults way early again. She's just popping this way too soon. But Ares ult coming in, pulling 2 of them, because they know Zhonghui has no actives. I don't know if they know, but Zhonghui has no actives. Gets pulled in, gets wombo comboed, and there's nothing they can do here. They should disengage here, they should be all out. But they had no reason to go so fast. They have their siege comp, they can just go slowly. Why is Bats going in there? That was suicide. I have no idea why he did that. But yeah, they basically just keep looking for these fights instead of these sieges. They can look to poke. Zhonghui's 1 has incredible damage at this point. It chunks. It does a lot. It has that slow, has that all that, but it does a lot of damage. They just combine that damage, get the poke off with Guan Yu, and then have the Guan Yu heal, so they can trade and poke very efficiently with the fire giant, heal up, look to keep sieging, but they took it very fast. They let Ares get this big ult off for no reason really. I don't know how he keeps managing to do this. Look, he's just walking into them. No poke going on to him. But even they even had no Silhouette. Silhouette was wasted in this fight. He just allowed to walk up to them, pull in the Zhonghui. And then they just combo that and get the Kabakano in. Nemesis ult comes out onto the tanky targets, giving her that protection, that move speed, all that good stuff. And they wasted Neith out there. They were never going to pick back, as he was never going to die. But then Bats, I'm not even going to talk about that. That was just a terrible decision to go for the trade there. He could have, if he'd have just jumped away, he'd been out for free. But he didn't. They're going to disengage. So it's still 3 important members with fire, but they wasted it onto 2 people. They wasted time basically. They could have just backed out, waited for Zhonghui to have actives, waited for everything to be up and ready, but they didn't do that at all, and that cost them the fight. And 2 members with fire giant, which is big. So you can see red buff going on to Hui. I don't think they should have dropped it this early, because they still need to wait for people to respawn. They can come back until 20 seconds away. If you just waited on the red buff for a bit longer, that would have been fun. You've had that for longer when you're pushing in, but it doesn't really matter. It's a small thing, but it could make a difference. Blue team actually going very aggressive here. They know Zhong just spawned, Bats has just spawned now. They're looking for this aggression, but I'm not sure. Okay, they can take this tier 1, but that's it. That's fair enough. You get a free tier 1, you back out. They should just look to run away, not get picked here. Yeah, they're going to do just that. But they're going to lose their own tier 1 and trade afterwards. They can't stop anything happening onto their tier 1. That's basically just a free tower, which is unfortunate for them, but can't really do that much. So yeah, they're farming mid tier. I'm just going to rewind this quickly because I was doing other stuff. They went to farm mid tier, and I guess sure you get away if you get a bit of XP. You can't hold that tier 1 anyway, but now they're not in position to hold tier 2. This is a time where red team can go fast. They know people are back, they can look for a fast pick here, because they know that Neith just back. Neith isn't in position. They can look for a pick and then go for the tower and seed that up. They're playing it very slowly, which, this is actually too slow. They know they have bees up onto most people except Huyi. But Aeris has no way of ulting Huyi unless Huyi's out of position, because Aeris doesn't have that blink. So I think they should have just gone for that tier 2 there when they knew Neith was out of position. They choose to back off instead, gone backs and gets. So tier 2 is Spirit Robe. I don't think that was worth backing just for that. It's not going to change that much. Backers back as well. But now they're going to start grouping up looking for a tower. Actually, no, they're not, because Fire Giant just ended, so they're going to look for the map pressure, then look to grab that second Fire Giant buff, and then look to pressure out the game. Because this is getting quite far into the game, half an hour in. There's a lot happening, a lot going on. And they have they have a very good potential to close out the game after a second Fire Giant buff. As long as they don't go too fast. They just need to play it slow, look for the poke walls, look to pressure out whatever, and then just look to win the game. They should have no difficulty doing that. In an even fight, if no team misplays, Lupilanders will win the team fight. They have a much better comp for it. If they just wait out their actives, which they've done, they now all have actives up, they should win this fight, 100% guaranteed. So yes, you look, that poke coming out from Bats, that's what they need to be doing. They need to be getting this pressure out. Interesting enough, they're not defending this ward. Zhonghui and Bacchus are out of position. They were in base, I don't know quite what they were doing. Actually, they got Gem of Ice online, which is quite big. But they're letting blue team have pressure, and I don't know why. They're letting blue team get away with what they want at this point. They are getting poke out, which is good. That's the big difference. They got a bit of poke out, traded that, let Guan heal up. Even though it's not much, any poke is a win for Lupilanders at this point. You can see Ares he's being held back, chains onto Bacchus. Bacchus doesn't care. Bacchus is stunning out. Guan Yu's not in position here. That's quite big. Guan Yu wasn't there to heal up at that point. He was just farming in lane. But now they need to look to group up and look to pressure this fight. No ults, no actors have been used so far. So that benefits Lupilanders so much more than whatever. They should be able to pressure this down, look to pick people, poke them out, heal up with Guan, look for fire. That's all they need to do. It should be fairly easy to do that. They just don't want to rush into anything. So yeah, there's the Fire Giant started. I'm not even sure if Kalisic is going to zone here. There should be a relatively free fire, or they're going to look for a just full-on fight. Kabakan's way out of position here. You can see him going in alone. Although they do get massive combo off. They're allowed to get it off, but it's just not that much damage at this point. Guan's just going to heal up. I know he's going to get plucked in. He could be dead here. And in fact, no, he lives with Med and his heal. So they're going to... He now gets picked. They have... The Guan heal's gone, which is big, but they used... used so much to kill that guy. They put in so much onto that Guan Yu, it just wasn't worth it at that point. You can't just look to burn a Guan Yu. He will, he had so many heals. He had the meditation and the shell up, the shell onto Bacchus, meditation onto Bacchus, but just protecting this Guan. So they used so much of this tanky target that their squishies were just being consistently poked down and killed. And that's basically as a free fire for red team. Even though blue team played the start of the fight well, they got a big silhouette off. They got the pressure where it was needed, but they just didn't close out that fight very well. In the end, they used way too much on Guan Yu. It just wasn't worth it. I'm just going to rewind quickly and show. So you got this stalemate. There's relative stalemate when no team's doing much. There's small bits of poke trading, but just not much at all. Red team have the ward pressure, which is big. So here's some bit of pressure onto the Kabakan, bit of poke, which is good. And then you'll see here, Kabakan goes in by himself. He baits quite a lot and gets his big stun off, which is coming into a lot of Scylla damage. And I think if I don't know if Nem ulted at the right time, but they could have probably got a pick right there and then. You can see they're looking for Kabakan. He's out of position. There's a big root by Scylla. But Nemult comes out a bit late. His protection he still has protections at that point. Silhouette doesn't hit Guan, which is... Let's just pause that a sec. That's huge. The Silhouette not hitting Guan, not being perfectly timed for the Ares ult, means Guan can dash out, get out completely free. He's just gonna heal up. At this point, honestly, red team, they don't need to commit hard to a fight. They do in the end, and it works out. They get the fire eventually. But they don't need to. They can just sit back with Guan heal up, play it safe. But in the end, they do go for this fight, trade quite a lot of people for this Guan Yu. But they do lose Guan Yu with fire, which is quite big. We have very late Aegis coming out there from Scylla. She didn't Aegis the basic attack, she Aegis basically 1 or 2 ticks of Zhonghui's 1, which isn't enough to save her. The basic attacks they chunk at this point. And she did not Aegis in time with Hui's attack speed. She just Aegis, sort of almost a panic Aegis. So that's a free fire. They're just gonna buy up, look to siege up. Probably, yeah, this duo lane. They have no reason to go to solo lane at this point. They'll just siege up duo lane, look for the Phoenix. They're getting this Gold Fury. They're pretty much all full build or close to. So they're just gonna look to push this hard. They can't. Tier 2 tower here can't be defended, it's half health. They are active sort of lacking at this point on both sides. Looks like Nem will just get picked. That second dash was not good. She should not have dashed back towards there. She should have just tried to head for the tower, head towards her team. But instead gets picked. For nothing, basically. Nothing used out of Lupilanders. They're just going to keep pushing. And now it's 5v4 push for Lupilanders, where blue team can't defend at all. It's going to be fairly free here. Even though Zhong doesn't have actives up, and normally I'd say don't push, play it safe, wait the actives. But with the shell up, they can't burst Zhonghui. So even if he gets pulled here, shell was popped, Zhonghui's going to pop his ult. They get the one-more combo off, but that's only half his damage. All of Scylla's combo is only half of Zhonghui's health. And he's going to heal up with Guan, heal up with Fire Giant, heal up with his passive, and his 1-2 combo. They're just going to keep sieging these phoenixes, and now whatever can't do anything about it at all. That was a waste of an Aegis. Scylla Crush isn't going to kill you in one shot. You'd have been fine without it, but I guess he was just scared of Scylla. So you got this siege coming out for. They get the phoenixes, get the tower. I'm not sure they should be. Yes, they probably have time to push this actually. They should be able to take this phoenix fairly easily. And once they've got this, that was a very nice bounce. I don't know if that was calculated or not. That was a very good bounce. I don't know if they needed Guan out there. That wasn't quite necessary. They'd have got that kill without it. But they just wanted to secure it and make sure nothing would happen. So they're just going to take this phoenix, back out, bite, so that everyone's full build, and then just siege up and try and end the game. And they should be able to do that very easily. They have no reason. There's no reason why they shouldn't. You can see wards placed. There are a lot more for red team than blue team. They've had so much more map control, so much more potential of sort of control the game with this ward control. You don't want to fight where you can't see, as I've said before. Interestingly enough, Nice has done a lot of damage. She hasn't made any big plays, but she's just been getting this consistent damage, some good poke, and yeah, it's surprising she's so high up on damage, but it is Nice. She does a surprising amount of damage anyway. So Bat's just taking this red buff to stop Scylla from getting it, to take that burst potential away from them. But I don't like him being alone. Even they have very little ward coverage there. He could have been picked just walking alone into the jungle. He can't really escape Nem. Nem can just keep chasing, consistently push with the ult, her slow, her dashes. So he could have died at that point, but luckily he gets out, screws the red buff, he has speed, he can't pick it up himself. They don't really care about them getting the buff, only stopping Scylla from getting it. So now they're going to play it actually very carefully here. Look, wait for the fire giant to come up, instead of just looking to end quickly. And I mean, there's nothing whatever can do to contest this fight. It's the freest of fire giants ever. So yeah, they take that. They're looking to siege up here. Siege up mid, interestingly. I'd go here, left, to sort of secure that Phoenix first. Crush not being very effective. They knock up. That's a waste of a bat ult. You do not need to bat ult that come back in there. They will end up killing him here. They get that fairly free pick. They're not poked at all. Apart from Guan Yu, but he's just gonna heal up. Has like so much heal potential, so tanky. They just walk in one by one base. Well, not walk in one by one, but they can't get out, and they just get picked off one by one. Loopy Landers staying together, focusing the right targets, and that's going to be a game. There's really nothing whatever could do at that point. I don't know what's happening here. It seems to be very bugged. But this was a fairly last ditch. Obviously, it was a last ditch attempt coming out. But Kabaka walked in alone, basically. There's like no way he's going to get anything done there. Walks in alone, gets picked. Ares has a fairly big ult here, I think. But that's Scylla ulted early once more. She didn't wait for the Ares ult. She just flat out came out with the ult. That's basically one of the main reasons this game was lost for whatever. Scylla ulted way too early when the CC wasn't there. There wasn't this potential to burst. She got her ult off solo onto one tanky target. It just didn't do much in the end. That's really what cost them the game. Yeah, that's basically that game. So you can see, at times they played their comp very well. They had this constant like re-engage with the Ares ult, with the Kabaka ult, with the Nemesis ult. They got these picks, then transitioned that into a good fight. That happened once or twice over the game. But on the whole, they just didn't play it well. They didn't time their abilities correctly. There seemed to be miscommunications. They didn't have the Scylla onto the necessary targets, but the tanky targets instead, which just didn't work. Especially as the Nemesis ult that was mainly used on Zhong Kui, and they looked to pick the Bacchus and the Gon. So you got that quite big misplay there, that miscommunication, the sort of going on the wrong targets was quite a big issue at times for whatever. Whereas in the end, Loopy Landers just played their comp well. They looked for the siege, looked for the pressure, looked for the abuse of the Guan heal, and then ended up winning the game. So that was that game, and I think I'll end the stream now. I'll maybe do the other one a bit later, but that's that. Thanks for watching. See ya.